Chapter 5. Preparation. In the end, just 3 things matter. How well we have lived, how well we have loved, how well we have learnt to let go. Jack Cornfield. I am waiting for a heart transplant. I have been warned that I could die before a donor is found. I live alone, and this could easily happen when I'm on my own at night. So I want to prepare in case that happens. I really want to die well, to recognise if it's happening, and to consciously awake. I don't want to be taken by surprise or miss it through not being prepared. You could say that I've become slightly obsessed with the anticipation of my own death. This might sound macabre, but to me it's a way of living with the inevitable, and it gives me an action plan. I am no longer scared, but actually curious to know how it all works out. I picture my death being a bit like catching a huge wave and then surfing it. This is definitely a moment to practice for. Surprise, surprise. Since I've been meditating on what will happen, I have connected with something huge, some sort of source energy. And I know it's me. I will actually never die. I will step onto the wave and ride it without the encumbrance of my physical body. How cool is that? For me, this is a form of enlightenment. I am now seeing the light. I know I will survive my death. When it eventually happens, I plan to enter a deep space and breathe in and breathe out with love. I will feel gratitude and peace, and my passing will be soft and graceful. Georgina. If we can begin working with a friend when they have recently been diagnosed, this gives us the chance to develop a deep bond of trust. They are usually still living a normal life, working, looking after family and home. With their diagnosis of terminal illness, they may go into a state of great shock and anxiety. This also links with the psycho-spiritual chaos stage, where everything predictable and stable is in flux. There may be trauma, anxiety, anger, and denial. At this stage, we can come into a person's life and support them in practical and pastoral ways. As they adjust to their diagnosis, they may begin to form a plan of how they will navigate their illness. There will be treatments, or not, to be followed, and choices to be made. This is a time when we will begin to work on end-of-life plans to facilitate the transition our friend desires. Listening to your friend. Companionship, good listening, and quiet conversation are most important here. It's a good idea to talk to your friend privately, as well as meet any caregivers to form a picture of how everyone is coping and how you can best support your friend. When talking to friends and loved ones, it's a good idea to use open questions. For example, questions that cannot be answered with a simple yes or no, to enable them to express themselves fully. Here are some opening questions that you could use each time you greet your friend or their carer, caregiver. How has your day been? How did you feel after our last session together? How can I serve you today? Is there anything causing you pain or anxiety? Remember to always greet your friend with a smile and a cheerful countenance. When someone is dying, their loved ones may find it difficult to be happy around them, and it makes your smiles all the more important. Loved ones may also feel uncomfortable when the friend wants to discuss death or the dying process, so it's especially important that a soul midwife allows the friend to voice their concerns and to be heard. Always follow the friend's lead. If they talk about their impending death, either directly or indirectly through metaphor, go along with it. If they ask you if they are dying, be honest, but avoid a blunt yes answer. You could reflect the question back and say, I don't know, what do you think and feel? A good soul midwife will listen not only to what is being said, but also what is not being said. Encourage your friend to tell you their journey so far, particularly the moments that have been significant for them. How to become a good listener. There are a number of points to remember when listening to your friend. Take the time to meet and greet your friend properly. Give your friend your complete, undivided attention. Don't interrupt them or talk over them. Hold their hand, if possible and appropriate, and maintain soft eye contact. Use open body language. For example, don't sit with your arms crossed. Lean slightly forward to show you're engaged and interested. Use gestures to show you are listening, and don't allow yourself to be distracted. Empathise, but don't sympathise. Be patient and give them time to say what needs to be said. They may find it difficult to talk about certain issues or physically draining to talk at all. Listen with your eyes. Non-verbal clues may affect the meaning of what your friend is saying. For example, if they're clasping their hands, this may indicate that what they're telling you is very emotional and painful for them. If you're unsure of what your friend is trying to communicate, try to clarify matters when they have finished speaking. Take a conversation slowly, not rushing to respond to what a friend is saying may give them the space to say more. Show acceptance. Addressing fears. Shallow reassurances and avoidance of difficult issues have no place in soul midwifery. If your friend has fears, encourage them to share them. If the fears can't be resolved, they can at least be heard, witnessed in a sense, and perhaps in that way laid to rest. Sometimes fears can be resolved. If there is a fear of not being able to heal a family rift, for example, there may be the opportunity to do something about it. If not, it can be tremendously important for the friend just to tell their story. The friend may express anxiety about finishing certain tasks. Ask them to tell you more. You may be able to help. If someone is having real difficulties in letting go, help them to reflect on the innumerable deaths that we all encounter as we move through life, leaving behind our babyhood, our childhood, our teenage years, and so on. One of the commonest fears that dying people express is that they don't know where they're going. Many people fear that dying is like falling off a cliff into darkness. To counter this, one of the most valuable things we can do is to help our friends create a peaceful journey to a happy place where they can rest after death. Visualization, going on a journey. This is a simple but very important visualization that your friend can use in their final hours. This technique is very powerful and really does help people who may have fears about letting go and surrendering to death. You can guide your friend through the visualization to begin with, and later they can take themselves through it on their own. It can be a useful resource to draw on when faced with moments of pain or fear. Imagine that you are walking through a garden gate into a beautiful garden which has a winding cobbled path that leads to a gap in a wall. Through the wall is a building made of glass and light. It is filled with roses of every colour imaginable: pink, red, dusky apricot, white. You smell them one by one. Or imagine opening a small gate from a garden into a flower-filled meadow, where butterflies are flying from flower to flower. A grassy path winds towards a flowing green river. You take off your shoes and feel the soft grass under your feet and hear the birds singing in the trees. Many people also like to imagine a safe place or room where they will rest after transition. This imagined room can be very helpful for people who are frightened of being abandoned in the black, unknown hole of death. Sometimes it's seen as a room filled with healing colours, light and music. It may have a wonderful view across an endless ocean or have a doorway into paradise. Sometimes loved ones or pets are waiting there to escort the person to heaven. One friend I worked with was a passionate dog lover. She created a story where all the dogs she had ever loved would be waiting for her in a little house in the middle of some woods. As she got closer to death, she knew that each of her beloved pets would be waiting on the other side of the threshold. As she was dying, she murmured that her favourite soul dog, Carl, a scruffy rescue collie, had come to take her home. Creating a narrative like this can be one of the most important aspects of the pre-active phase and is very deep and profound work in itself. You can really see the benefits of it when you're sitting with someone who is in their final hours, not able to speak but still able to hear. You can see them following their imagination and letting go of their fear. Acceptance of mortality. These conversations and visualizations can only happen if the friend has accepted that they are dying and is comfortable in talking about it. This doesn't always happen, and then maybe only just before death. Remember to always let the friend direct the content and pace of the discussions. You can, however, gently guide friends to think about their mortality. This can be done in many different ways. I was sent this series of prompts by a colleague many years ago. What keeps you from standing in your power and manifesting who you are? Who are you truly? Who are your allies? What gives you strength when you are in the deepest, darkest despair? How do you call on this strength? What do you wish to call into your life? What do you wish to integrate and accept? What parts of your life are you ready to release or bury? What are the obstacles, inner or outer, which keep you from letting go? What are the attachments in your life, and how do they control you? What attitudes, belief systems, or habits no longer serve you? What are the shadow aspects in your life? What do you really fear and resist? Do you hear a calling for a new and different life? How will you answer that call? I don't know who originally created it, and it has been adapted over time, but I find it very useful as a tool for beginning potentially difficult conversations. Preparing to die. Once a friend has accepted that they're going to die, you can work together on end-of-life planning. This may evolve over many weeks. Many people find it an inspiring and empowering process. It brings a sense of creating something very important and meaningful. It's a time of putting their house in order, in both practical and personal terms. As Dee Dade, a soul midwife and bereavement counsellor based in Dorset, says, people still imagine that they're going to die naturally, probably in their sleep. It simply doesn't occur to them that it doesn't just happen like that to most people these days. A hospital or hospice is a completely alien environment, and beginning treatment and starting new drugs can be very disorientating at the end of life. Most people aren't able to say, "No, I've had enough," partly because of the drugs and partly because they are frightened and overwhelmed. If ideas and preferences have been written in advance, then the soul midwife can be a very helpful advocate at the end of life. To get an idea of what to consider in end-of-life planning, try the following exercise. How would you like to die? Think about the following. What kind of music or what songs would you want to hear? Would you prefer silence? Who would you like to be with you? Would you like any healing, stroking or talking? What spiritual figure or guide may be there for you? Which of your loved ones might be waiting? Have you imagined a place where you can rest and heal after you have died? What does it look like? Putting the house in order. There may be many practical issues to consider. These include financial considerations, such as making a will, advance care directives, such as a living will, arrangements for the care of pets if the friend is hospitalised or when death occurs, identifying a network of friends and helpers to help with practical issues such as transport to hospital appointments, helping to contact people with whom your friend may have lost touch. It is useful to work together to formulate a specific end-of-life plan. Creating an end-of-life plan. The following questions can help with this. They are always for the friend to answer, based on their own set of values and beliefs. Where would you like to die? At home, in hospital, or in a hospice? How involved in your care and medical decisions do you hope to be? Do you want to remain lucid at all times and be able to make decisions? Would you prefer medical information to be given to a partner or relative? Some people may not wish to find out that they are dying from a member of the medical staff, but from someone closer to them. They may also wish to discuss it on a spiritual level with someone else. Would you like any religious ceremonies or rituals prior to death? Would you like singing, chanting, or poems or prayers spoken out loud? Would you like to be anointed or to receive healing or any other therapies close to death? Who would you like to have with you or not have with you? Are there any outstanding issues, emotional or financial, to be resolved? How long would you like to be left after you have died and before you are removed and prepared for burial or cremation? What sort of funeral would you like? Spiritual companionship. The end of life often opens up questions about the greater meaning of life and our part within it. Soul midwives are non-denominational, but spiritual companions in the very widest sense, embracing every belief or no beliefs at all. Many of the friends we help have no spiritual interests. A starting point with someone who requests spiritual companionship can be as simple as helping them to make a connection with their inner divine self and remembering their connection with something greater than themselves. Dream diaries. Dreams, recorded as text, drawings, paintings, etc., or via an audio recording device, can be very helpful pre-active work. Many people find that working with their dreams is a gateway to exploring inner issues. Memory work. At this time, our friends often want to reflect on the story of their life and how they lived it, and to leave something behind for their loved ones. Memory projects may include memory boxes, recipe books, audio recordings such as reading nursery rhymes for grandchildren, video clips, songs, poems, painting, pottery, plaster casts of hands. Here again, people enjoy the process. Therapeutic work. As we work with friends, we can see them beginning to pull away from life, even though death may still be some way off. Sometimes we notice a change when we haven't seen an old friend or relative for some time. Somehow, without being able to put a finger on it, we can see that they are somehow different, a little older, perhaps frailer. Here are some suggestions for tuning in to understand what might be happening for them. Concentrate on really listening to what they're saying. There may be hidden clues as to how they're feeling deep inside. Give some very simple healing. It can be as easy as stroking an arm or hugging. Follow your intuition and be guided as to how you might be able to help them. Don't feel you have to fix or change anything. Just be yourself and allow the space to open up. During this stage, we also introduce our friends to therapies such as massage, breathwork, gentle touch, Reiki, meditation, and working with sound. Soothing soul wounds. Soul wounds are the scars left by this life, and in some cases, past lives. Soul wounds don't respond to morphine. They probably can't be healed completely in the short time that we spend with someone who is dying, but they can be soothed by love and brought into the light and honoured. Soul wounds can hamper the seamless flow through the transitional phases of dying, and one of our roles as soul midwives is to work with them in whatever way we can. They may manifest in the following behaviour: frequent and excessive anger, excessive and irrational fears, self-medication with the abuse of prescription drugs, street drugs, alcohol and pornography, sex addiction, food addiction, shopping addiction, compulsive dishonesty, constantly telling half-truths or untruths about one's life and circumstances, the need to control, excessive anxiety, feelings of suspicion and distrust, strong feelings of being unloved or unworthy, an inability to love and enter into deep relationships. Here are some important things that we need to remember about soul wounds. They are real. They may be extremely painful. They are often emotionally and spiritually crippling. They frequently distort a friend's view of reality. They create painful and fractured relationships which will often affect the whole family. Sometimes a soul wound is very obvious, but often there is a complicated overlap of many different wounds. Your friend's soul wounds may also trigger a response in you, forcing your own wounds up to the surface. The key is to know yourself and know your own wounds. How can you recognise them? Think for a moment. What bothers you when you're tired or depressed or feeling anxious? This probably points to your own soul wounds. One of the best ways of dealing with soul wounds is to recognize them, acknowledge them, and then love them and let them go. Here is an affirmation for acknowledging your own soul wounds. Even though I feel abandoned and unsupported at times, I recognize that this is just a part of who I am. I recognize the fact that these feelings can be challenging, but they don't undermine my core well-being or my ability to help others. Record keeping. Make sure you familiarise yourself with the Data Protection Act 2018 for guidance on storing people's personal data. It is very important to keep a written record of the time spent with your friend. Not only does this give you documentation to refer back to, it can also be a record of safe practice. You may wish to record the following: up-to-date contact details of your friend and their family, the dates and durations of your meetings, your friends' expectations. This will help you to assess whether you are meeting these expectations. Any home care advice you give, for example, diet and relaxation exercises, and whether it has been followed. How the friend is feeling. The effects of any treatments, both positive and negative. Whether and how much the friend has paid you for your time. Adding brief notes at each session will ensure that you continue to work with your friend and meet their expectations. Summary. While not always possible, it is ideal if you can create a bond of trust and friendship with your friend in the pre-active stage. Deep listening skills will enable the relationship to develop. Addressing fears and anxieties will speed acceptance. It is helpful to create a personal, guided visualization to ease your friend through pain or the final stages. End-of-life plans can provide a valuable guide to friends' wishes. Memory work and projects can be prepared now. Recipe books, photo albums, poems, sound and video recordings. Keep accurate records of your friends' progress.